Thanks again. It's unbelievable to be here in front of you tonight. Well, of course, you're the police, so I'm a little bit nervous myself. We all love police, but I've never been in front of this many police officers and great people in my life. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, I couldn't imagine myself standing here on the stage here and talking to people, heroes like you guys. And where's Officer McCann? Randy Travis, excuse me. Does anyone get that? I was like, oh my God, is Randy Travis here? I was like, on one hand, yeah, I was about to start singing that, man. So it's an honor just to be here, just to be around heroes again. I retired 4 years ago. I thought it was the best thing ever happened in my life, and I realized in some sense it's been the worst thing that ever happened to me. The brotherhood, just the camaraderie, being around people like you we have a shared consciousness in life. We believe in some of the same things. It's unbelievable. I watch the news. I'm not immune to that. I watch it, and a lot of my friends are police officers. I got some guys in the back that came here with me. They're police officers as well, and it's just unbelievable. I love it. Society, I don't think, I feel like I've gotten a good run on life, or so to speak. People love people in the military since 9/11 and all that. Police officers, I think, take probably the hardest hit of anyone in society. And they do more than any of us, than any of things I've done. I used to deploy overseas, and that was fine, but I came back to a house that was protected by you and people like you that are willing to spend your life doing what you do on a daily basis. Your family has to do it. You have to do it. So thank you. No, I watch my language, but no kidding. Thank you. I appreciate everything you've done. Of course, I know I'm in good company. I'm like, I could probably drop a bomb here and there, and I'll be okay. Like Tim was talking earlier, I did a lot of stuff in the SEAL teams that, and one of the things I do now in the private sector is I talk about leadership. I train people and executives and in the corporate world on how to deal with leadership and confrontation and all this kind of stuff, which most of you know already. You deal in a lifestyle that's very difficult, and I call it VUCA. It's a volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Some people call that the shit hits a storm, but it's the fog of war, right? It's the complex world that we find ourselves into, and I know you know as well as I do what it is. In 2008, 7 and 8 and 9, Tim was talking about, I was doing a study. The SEAL teams, they have a thing called it's voluntold, and it's you don't get invitations, you get orders. And so I kept getting orders, and they were like, hey, you're going to solve this thing called the pressure on the force. Right? Okay, that's a big thing. We got 3 major wars going on. We got Afghanistan, Iraq, Philippines, Africa, South America, all that. We're like, okay, there's a lot of problems going on in the world. So they're like, you're going to solve it. You're going to go run a study and figure out what the pressures are on the force. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And I'll go through it real quick. I don't want to bore you, because I know the bar's running out. It probably closes down in about 20 minutes. But so one of my things was we got together a study group, and it was about 70 people, and we're working on, okay, what causes stress on the force? And obviously, we got wars, combat, time away from home, money, mama wants me home, those things. So early on in the meeting, or in the offsite is what we had, is we found out it wasn't the job, it wasn't the fact that we were fighting constantly. I mean, that was, obviously that was it. Some of it, you can't take combat out of the situation. Like, you can't take your daily life out of the situation that you're going to find yourselves in. But we found out leadership was the biggest issue, and we went from having leadership as being one of the pillars, it became everything that ran across the board. We had a tight organization, we had a great organization, but we didn't know how to lead our people the way we thought they should be led, and the surveys showed it. So we started studying, and I worked on a bunch of different projects and trying to find how to train our people to lead each other in a high-risk, high-intensity environment. And it came to a lot of things. I learned a lot from doing it because it came to a lot of things that I didn't inherently know. You think, well, you just give orders, and you just, everybody just bust their ass, and you do your job, and shut up, and go home, and come home. That wasn't the case. And so I found out a lot of different things. And one of the, we looked into some scenarios, and I found a guy, Admiral Stockdale. If you've heard of Admiral Stockdale was true American hero, POW in Vietnam. He did 7.5 years in North Vietnam in Hanoi Hilton. He was tortured, beaten. The man lived unbelievable life, and he never caved in. And he came up, and he ended up teaching at Stanford, and he used to teach people in the military what it meant to be a combat leader. I don't just mean combat, but stress. Under stress, what does it mean to be a good person of character? And for us, we found out that's what it means. To be a leader and to be a person in that environment, it's about character. And the 5 things, and I'll go through them really quickly, that Admiral Stockdale talked about was, he goes, there's 5 pillars in leaders, and I see this tonight, and I see this in you guys, and I know what you do I don't know, but I have an idea what you do for a living. I know the sacrifices you make, the issues you have in your life, like we've all had. But he talks about combat leaders being 5 pillars. And the 5 pillars are things that we, in the SEAL team community, we train to. And it sounds a little strange, but one of the first 5 pillars he talks about, every combat leader, every leader under stress, every leader of human beings, that when the things really matter, is the first thing is you're a philosopher. You have to take complex situations. And the word, philosophy means you take a complex set of ideas and you mold them into a really silent, quiet solution. Simplify things. And you do that on the streets. You do that every mission, every op you do. You might not know it, but you do that. You bring things down. You take very complex issues. Right? People's lives, the law, violence, unknowing, ambiguity, all those situations. So that I see as police officers and just men and women of law enforcement in general, you do that. Second one was you're moralist, because you represent the only thing that holds this society together. I know that because I've been in every continent on this earth, except for Antarctica, and here's the joke and the punchline, is that penguins don't have suicide vests, so we don't kill penguins. I've shot a couple of them, but they deserved it. But you're, but you do it every day. You decide what is right and wrong for society, right? You have to. There's not enough regulations, not enough books, not enough stuff to tell you your job. You do it with character and honesty, and you understand this country, and you respect it, and you respect the people. And that's the second part. Third part is you're a teacher. You teach society how to act, because what you do matters. Everything you do matters. You deal with the most complex situations, and what you do is you train us, civilians, which I have a hard time calling myself a civilian now, but you tell us how society works. It's a very fragile world. I've been to Afghanistan, Iraq, Philippines, Africa, Asia, all these places, and it's such a fragile, delicate place that we serve. And you keep it that way. You keep it safe. We all think, we're like, oh, this is great. America's this, and we probably have some damn protesters outside. That's great, because they have the right to do that. Not because of me, but because of you. You do it. So that is you, and I appreciate that. And one of the last things Admiral Stockdale talked about is he talked about, and for me, it was a very defining moment in my life, my leadership thought process, is he talked about stewardship. And I never really thought about that, until the story. Some people were in this morning when I talked a little bit, but I learned it in the back of a helicopter, and about 7 minutes away. I'd already been, downrange. I'd done about over 100 missions, direct action, and things worked out well for me. But I learned it when I was in charge of a lot of people, and I was in the back of a helicopter in the middle of the night, whatever time it was, 0:30, in the desert, and I was 7 minutes away from, probably one of the most violent things I was going to do that day, because I did it every day. It just hit me. It dawned on me what he meant when he said, "You are a steward. You're a protector, like the sheepdog. You're the person over society that makes a difference." There's very few of us. In this room, there's a lot of you. It's you, your family. The things that you do really, really matter. You're stewards of this country, of this society. We have an election right now. In the election, God only knows. I think we have a countdown coming, but what will happen? But people like us, the brotherhood, we, no matter what, we're going to serve because we're stewards. We serve. We do something for other people. I work for people in industry. I just came from an organization of $3.5 billion. These people make more money than I've ever made in my damn life, right? But they're missing that. They're missing that service, that stewardship. And that's what you bring to the table, man. And I'll tell you, life is a very short thing. And we all know that. But it means more to me now that I'm out. And I look around and I wonder, what have I done for my life? I've got a young son. And I tell him, yeah, I'm not rich. No. I get a pension, but I'm not rich. But you know what? What I've done, I'm extremely proud of. And I sat in this room. I would love to have brought him in this room tonight because I want him to see this. I want him to see people like you that hold this society together. So you are the stewards of our country, of our society, and all of us. I've worked with some really great individuals and some great organizations in my life. General McChrystal, worked for him, and he was a steward of what he did, and he taught me a lot of good lessons in life. And he taught us all how to be a better person. And I think when you talk about leadership, you talk about that. You have to express yourself and understand that ethos, your character, the character that you represent, because you are on stage every day. Every day when you show up, you have that badge on. You have that trust in our society, and you do live up to it, more so than any country on this earth. And I've seen it over and over, unless I'm driving down the street, here's the joke, unless I'm driving down the street, going 120 miles an hour drunk, with no shirt on, carrying a pistol, smoking a joint, drinking a bottle of Wild Turkey, I love the police, right? The us, I don't know why they don't like me. Well, put the joint down and put the gun down, man. But I watch it, I'm like, what, the police officer understands what you do for a living. So what you do really matters. It may be said over and over, and you may hear it over and over again in your life, but continue, please, to do it. There's very few people on this earth that can do or will do. And that's the big thing, will do what you're doing. Even in the military, we understood I was a training officer for the force, and I was recruiting SEALs and doing all those things. But we understood that the selection process in society today is so much smaller. The pool of people that they're not criminals, they're not too fat, they're not too stupid, they're not whatever the case. That pool has shrunk down. It's shrunk down to 17% of military-age people, MAPS, are actually qualified to serve this country in the capacity that we need it. So we need people like you, and we need people that we trust. And you are those people. So, I'm as humble as you can be. I'm telling you, man, for the rest of my life, I will always love the brothers and sisters in arms. We have a shared consciousness of life, respect of character, honesty, decency, all the things that holds our society together. So, to be here, to just be able to sit here and listen to heroics that have taken place, I mean, it's unbelievable to me. So, to everyone in this room, I would like to say just thank you very much. No kidding, thank you very much. I love you, and please continue doing what you're doing. We trust you as a society, and you are holding us together. So, thank you very much.